Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Half the Race Gone Desert Duel Challenge. 40 laps of Group 4 action here around the Big Willow from the Californian desert. We are also from the oldest raceway in America, if I'm not completely mistaken. Good evening to everyone who's joined us already here. Early days. I'm a little late and I am very tired today. I've been having a busy day commentating on real bike racing, but it's been a hell of a day. I've been having so much fun, and I really gotta say, I feel like I've actually gained valuable experience doing this Half the Race Gone stuff that I was actually able to apply in something I did that was real in real life today. So I'm feeling a little high on that, and that's always nice. I'm glad. And I'm excited for this race, in part because I love Willow Springs and it's always a great place to see. Plus, it's always guaranteed that someone at some point is gonna take a trip in the desert, and it's gonna be a long one. It's gonna be peyote, it's gonna be shrooms, it's gonna be wild out days before you get back on the racetrack. That's always good fun. And also because last time we had an NES Group 4 event from Bathurst, that's 2 weeks ago now, we had the most insane finish I have seen on, at least on this channel yet. That's a lot to promise, because some of these IGTL finish, well, they were probably insane enough. But we had a really cool finish to the race. Evening to Martin, by the way, to Nilse and to Apple. So as I just need to do a slight mic adjustment, I think. Well, that's better. Anyway, as with 2 weeks ago, it's the Group 4 cars. It is stock BOP, or it's the Polyphony BOP, but with setups, however, and with a combination of faces new and old. I was about to say that's intriguing and nice. An evening to Rhino Boys as well. First time we have Rhino Boys racing with us here tonight in the very Rhino-ish Mustang, and seems like a fitting choice of car for a Rhino, I guess. We have Felix, as you would say in German, the man formerly known as Snipperator, if I'm not completely mistaken. Which I know it is. And that, of course, means that it is a great pleasure to have Felix racing with us again in the NES. It's been some time, and of course, always a pleasure to see you back, and really looking forward to see you on track today. Then we got the spinny boy Mika in one of the two Vipers. We've got GRM Bandit in the other one, and they have parked themselves for an absolute magnificent photo shot. Numbers visible at a great angle here. Did you plan all this with the camera? And evening to George as well. The best Group 1 car? Well, that's a good question. That really depends on the track, I think. The Audi, hybrid Audi, is very good. The Toyota is a little bit more twitchy, but it's also very good. The Porsche 919 is very good on more technical circuits. I don't know about all of the Group C cars, although I know they're all great when top speed is at the essential. And then all the Vision Gran Turismo cars, I have to be honest, I haven't really driven any of those, because until when we get maybe to 2021 and the actual Le Mans racing cars are gonna look somewhat like some of those Vision Gran Turismo cars, I might very well start driving them then. But the Nissan, well, the long boy, the long boy. Evening to Cliche as well, of course. The long boy is, I think it's difficult to make the long boy really work, to be honest. But I've seen people, I've seen Splurge being fast with the long boy. Indeed as well, Nilse, who's put the Mazda LM55 that it is very fast in the corners, and While it does lack some of the hybrid acceleration, it's quite fast actually on pure top speed as well. So on a track like La Sarthe or something, it actually isn't too bad at all. We got Felix on track as well in the second of 2 Caymans, and qualifying is of course underway. And I have to be honest with you, I don't remember which qualifying format we're actually, because we got 2. And one of them is like a Super Pole set, and I'm quite sure it's the Super Pole set because we've seen. That's why the cars are parking after that one flying lap, of course. We got Rhino Boys, he's yet to set a time. Bandit, he's not gotten a good run at all. He's 7 seconds down on provisional pole sitter Joe of the Fire, who's done quite well to get himself through on a 1:15.4. We've got CJ running at the moment, and Felix as well. Felix, I don't know, it's so... It's Felix, and it's Felix as well in Danish, which is probably why I'm having a hard time just saying Felix. But I'm really just gonna say Felix because it's Felix, and everything else is just stupid. And I'm sorry for saying Felix, because obviously it's Felix. I'll stop saying Felix, it sounds weird. Apple as well, and he's of course running the half a mate. That's the BMW M4. And then there's the 3/4 of a mate, the M6. And then we have yet to see the full boat, the battleship, the Titanic car that is the mate, the giant mate. Yet to see that in GT Sport. Would be a great addition to the game nonetheless. Here Felix goes the fourth fastest, and CJ just bettering Joe of the Fire by 0.07 of a second, so that is certainly close between the two combatants, the two duelists, the two rivals, you could say. They ran as teammates in season 4 of the NES, and certainly gave us a good run for the championship. And who is it who's not on track at the moment? Well, it's Martin, it's Toshost, who also needs to hop in. And of course, Apple as well. That means Martin will have yet another last to first challenge coming up for him. George, Martin not there yet. Sorry, George. The Audi, buy it? Well, I'd say yes, because I think it is the most versatile Group 1 car that you could find. So if you have one choice, I'd say that. But yeah. Evening to Rabbit Gator. What a pleasure to have you along, mate. Welcome, and I hope you've been enjoying the weekend. I hope you can be there for the start as well. Martin, I think you have about 10 minutes till we're starting. So we've got Mika qualifying 5th, right behind Felix. Wake, see you in 3rd. Wake, see you, by the way, who hasn't been lagging so far. And there is no Sugar Rush because he's in a Coca-Cola Light, so he's betraying himself. What are you doing, Wake? And then, as I mentioned, it's Bandit 7th. It's Rhino Boys in 6th position. Apple there, 2.3 seconds. I mean, he slots in 5th, actually. Then Mika 6th, Rhino Boys 7th, and GRM Bandit in 8th. And then... oh, Toshost is not gonna race with us. Oh, well, that's a shame. Well, we're hoping Martin is gonna be able to start this race with us soon. This is not really the best. Oh, that's better, Joe. I'm gonna go on board with Joe as he aims for the backside of CJ's cars, and the destruction derby is underway, and that's just what we're hearing. Bang, 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 boom, bang, like a Bas Rutten video. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Bas Rutten's Lethal Self-Defense. You will laugh for a very long time. I don't dare promising you anything, but I think, what happens if you hit the cameraman, Joe? Oh, it's the most... Oh, he's a solid granite cameraman. He's not even... He's just a marshal. That marshal is... That's the most solid marshal. Yes, Nils, a very professional. Professional destruction derby. The NES should enter a team for the red versus black event at the TT Showdown series by Dr. Hash and Shosset sometimes. I think they'd make a good team. I've already seen both Martin, I think, and also Wake doing quite well at it. And no doubt Willow Springs would make for a great place to do rallycross. And why is CJ left the room now? Apple, it's not green, it's like fluorescent. It's hardly even fluorescent green, it's just fluorescent, basically, that color. Look at that, behind here there's just a long line of cars just waiting to try to run down the marshal. Like maybe if we add even more thump to the rump, I don't know. It's probably gonna... That is the heavy man. He's not moving a marshal, he's a marshalator. Wake's had enough of it. He's going for... Is he going for the second marshal? He's going for... No, he's going for Felix. And now he's aiming maybe for the second marshal. Oh, Felix almost managed to put his Porsche Cayman atop the yellow, the green thing there. That's impressive. We see another attempt. Oh, almost gets it right there. That is hugely impressive. And Wake gets a turn. Oh my god. We've just invented a new discipline. Evening to Maverick, our good friend. Look at actually, that's Felix actually having success. This is like a Dr. Dre video. Oh, getting slung over the top of it there. Epic stuff. Is it like Tony Hawk's Pro Gran Turismo? Oh, that's a very good ollie by Wake. As he tries for the kickflip, doesn't get the car rotating enough. Now, will he be able to pull off the... What's it called? The tail stand? No, what is it? I don't remember what it's called. I'm not really a skater. I've just been playing these games. That's why I don't really know what I know the basics, but I'm not gonna act like I know a lot about skating because I know nothing more than you learn from playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Anyways, grids are set, and I think that's Felix actually getting very close to actually mounting the rubber thing there. There's some... Oh, and he did it! Yes, he's done it! Look at that, the master! And he gets reset onto track because the game just couldn't handle that piece of skill. Oh, what's going on in the end there? Oh my god. Oh my god. Is that... Oh my god, is that... That's Mika. That's Mika who's riding the Marshall. He's put his entire Viper on the shoulders of the Marshall. That's some heavy weight to carry. Well, Replicator, there aren't really any points here, but I'm sure that we pull off thousands of extra points and we points for this one. This. So CJ should be on pole position, then in front of Joe of the Fire, Wake, Felix, Spinny, Mika Boy. No, that's not true. Then it should be Apple, Mika, Rhino Boys, GRM Bandit. And then Martin at the end of affairs. An evening to Swablu. It's nice to have you along, mate. Mounting points, yes. Oh, I have coffee. I need it. It's not like I haven't had 7, 8, even more probably cups of coffee already today, but I have been doing a whole lot of talking. If things get silly, I do apologize on the preliminary apologizes for any silliness on my part, at least. I'll try to keep it serious, professional. Martin, come on. To be fair, Apple, race is not supposed to start before another minute, so Martin still got time to redeem himself. Evening to Emilius as well. Nice to have you along, nice to have you watching tonight. And both to everyone racing, if they're watching / listening, and to everyone watching the stream, I do hope that you've all enjoyed your weekends. I certainly enjoyed doing the VRR stream yesterday, and even though I had to cut it a little short to prepare for what I've been doing all day today, I really enjoyed getting into the thing that is VRR and getting to know the drivers and the pace of the different cars under the custom GT500 BOP and all these things. It was a great pleasure to do. And also just to kick off VRR things nicely. Of course, the first round of the VRR Super GT Season 6 is kicking off on Saturday, May the 18th. And that is, of course, the Saturday that comes here next weekend. So a big weekend to come on the channel. For now, we are going to be enjoying the Desert Duel Challenge. We're up for 40 laps of Group 4 action around here. And it's oh, that's Martin. He's there. From out of the blue comes a Cam Hatch. Puts himself in a perfect position to get some nice sponsor exposure there. And Navigator, it's a long open practice session, but it's there was also some fun going. And then also, of course, a very eventful GT300 sprint race under proceedings as well. And I think I do need to add some timestamps. I'll do that when I'm done streaming this one. Anyways, we are about to get the race underway. It is the Mad Greek on pole position in front of the Witty Professor, the Belgian Warpmeister. It's Felix in 4th position in front of Apple, the Spinny Boy Mika. And then it's Rhino Boys, GRN Bandit, and TSR Martin with yet another last to first challenge. And off they are. It's green, it's go, and it seems like it's a brilliant start for CJ, who keeps Joe of the Fire at bay coming into turn 1. And it's status quo all the way down, except for off Apple using that 7-speed gearbox of the half-a-mate. to gain a place on Felix, but Felix in the Cayman, he should have the traction on the inside line here, and he's looking to put that Cayman up the inside. He is gonna have the outside line into the next right-hander. And Felix, known as a man that knows that a race is rarely won but can easily be lost on the first lap, and shows a mature driving style here, trying to pressure, not attacking overly though. Martin has brought himself up into 7th position already, and he is really pressuring Mika. There is a Dutch duel going on at the moment, and Mika gets a little bit of a slide on here, it seems. No, does he even? I think he went very, very fast all of a sudden. I think Martin might have tapped him in the rear end, I'm afraid. And he certainly did. Martin's picked up a bucket load of damage. It's both front suspensions and aero for Martin. That's poor luck. And it's put him right down to 9th and last position, where he started as well. That is indeed bad for Martin here. There's a battle going on still between the straight line Grundy Hyundai of CJ and the technically cornering strong Megane Trophy of Joe of the Fire. Then behind these two it's Wake, it's Off Apple still, Felix also keeping in touch, then Mika. And let's see if Mika picked up any damage from that contact with Martin. He did. So Mika also with some bad luck here from the beginning of affairs. It seems to be struggling a little bit with the car. It seems a little unruly. And one thing I have to applaud about the two Vipers is the very nice Orica replica. Certainly an iconic livery for the Vipers, if ever there was one, and certainly nice to see the Orica liveries running here. Still close between our front runners, with Joe of the Fire trying to pressure CJ, but through these high-speed corners, really expect the Megane to be able to get the run on CJ. But CJ seems to really be able to utilize the straight line pace of the Hyundai Genesis to his advantage, and of course also the Grunt coming out the corners has a great acceleration and isn't too shabby on the handling as well. I've driven it myself, this car, and I really enjoyed it. Isn't a bad car at all. Oh, and Felix has gotten past Apple. Let's see if there is something we can do to catch it. I think it's up here right before that right-hand hairpin. Felix up into 4th position. And that throws Apple down into 5th as he slightly overshoots the final corner. Let's see if he keeps it within the lines. He does, and now he has the slipstream of the German in front, and he is certainly close. And the M4 is very strong on top speed. A little Rosberg squeeze there. All legitimate by Felix. And then he goes for the cutback on corner exit. It's getting blocked by Apple. And then a little cheeky kick up of dust. Of course, here we're with Apple on board with the Wang cam. Now let's have a look from the German perspective of things here in the Porsche Cayman. Aiming for the run on the Beamer in front. And one thing that's interesting to note, here's Felix, he's on the super softs. Apple, he too is on the super softs. Apple 6/10 up on his personal best. So I have to say Apple's done a brilliant job to fight back after losing that 4th position to Felix. And Joe of the Fire now going side by side with CJ on the way down towards turn 1. And CJ doing a brilliant job of defending that one. Just has to be said, the Mad Greek cool as a cucumber. Here it is. It's the attempt around the outside through the final corner. That's a ballsy one from the witty professor. CJ then deploying the straight line speed to bring him in front, and then brings it home in the braking zone. Joe up the fire and CJ also on the super softs. And Rapid Gator, it's a little bit annoying because the only series that I'm actually still, or series, but there's like a monthly Group 4 race that I do with these American friends of mine. It's organized by Rinsky. When it's a real good gathering of folks running in those races. I think I've had a lot of fun doing them, and I used to run the M4. Now I've changed to the Alpha 4C because it's a car that I really enjoy driving, but if they've made the M4 a little stronger, on a little less weak on fuel perhaps, or a little less weak on tire wear, then certainly becomes a strong car. It is really fast. It's easy to go and do a really fast lap in the M4, but the problem is doing it consistently. You have to be careful, and it is a drive driven by the fingertips kind of car if you want to make the speed last. Now Felix back up into 4th position. He's gotten his way past outside of the focus of our camera lenses, and he's made it stick, although Apple is very close. And we're also talking about two drivers who spent so much time battling over the seasons in the NES. It's great to see them back together and going so closely, but also in turn so much respect. Still not a tap between them, and that is a pleasure to see. It seems the BMW is a little bit up on pace. In turn, it also seems that the Cayman is able to be driven a little more steadily around here. In turns, it makes for a little more consistent drive, and it's very interesting to watch how it develops. Now it's still close also between our two leaders, as the two red and white machines are going so close. Just see how the Hyundai is gaining on the faster bits. So this final sector coming down, well, from here to the line more or less, that's Hyundai territory it seems. And of course, when Joe is in the slipstream, that of course helps him massively. And then of course the start-finish straight, also Hyundai territory. And then the space in between more or less being better for the McFeely, painted out clearly when we had the race at Bathurst, where the Hyundai was just able to power away coming onto the mountain. Then over the mountain it was being eaten completely by the McGann, and then down the mountain on the long straight down to the chase and the final couple of corners, the Hyundai would yet again power through, and that was one very interesting finish. Yet nothing really to separate the two leaders. 0.3 of a second in between them, and they've put 8 seconds into Wake CU running third. He's a little bit on an island at the moment. He's got 7.4 himself, down to Felix. It's still only 0.6 of a second between these two cars, although Felix gained, well, for this battle it seems a pretty massive 0.3 of a second through one corner there, and then Apple doing his best to pressure and get back, although he gets wide into the hairpin. And then a little unlucky for Felix, it doesn't seem to be able to utilize full speed there through the corner, and in turn he misses the apex through the next one. Apple is right back on his tail. Let's go on board with the Brit. Intelligent defending from Snip, because it's really hard to put the car around the outside. And it doesn't seem like Apple is going to be willing to make the attempt, although he does go for the big launch upon him here with the nice cutback. And that means that for now, at least, he has his nose in front. This battle just keeps on giving, because it's now off Apple up into fourth position, and Snip challenging yet again. Oh, just trying to get his nose up on the inside there. Just not enough space, but it is certainly close. And as the gap grows to 0.6 of a second, I'll do my best to keep us updated on the action in the lead battle as well. It's still status quo, with CJ leading Joe of the Fire with between 2/10 and half a second. It seems to be up and down. Joe of the Fire has managed to quickly get his nose in front, but he hasn't been able to really make it stick. Now we have Mika pitting in and Martin pitting in as well. And is that Martin having called it a day? It could look like it. I don't think there's anything really being done to that car. And he's had some poor luck. And there is Mika stopping on the exit from the pit lane to let some traffic through. And that's quite gentlemanly. Didn't want to get in the way of the lead battle. And indeed, Swablu, that is true that to make any real gains on Joe, I'm quite sure that you are completely correct on that one, that he needs to put Joe of the Fire out of his slipstream. But that is much easier said than done, because what happens? Well, this time it's 0.5 a second. This time he might actually have the possibility of doing it down the final straight, the start-finish straight. But what's been happening on every other occasion pretty much is that every time they see a corner, well, the trophy pulls in a couple of tenths there, but Joe of the Fire darts into the pits. And on lap 10 already, let's see here, no damage, so it is just a regular pit stop. Mika leaving the room here, that's a shame. Oh, I know that feeling, Martin. When the will to race goes away, it's just that's what you do. But I admire you just pitting in. That's the way to do it. Here we got Felix pitting as well. Bandit is pitting in same time. Felix going on to the soft compound instead. Pit stops, mind you, are very, very short here, especially when you just go in for a tire change, and this is what we've seen pretty much everybody do so far, except for CJ. Joe of the Fire might be trying to pull off the undercut here by getting that fresh rubber underneath him. It'll be interesting to see how it's gonna be working out. And also the gap between Apple and Felix, well, that's also worth having a look at. Because if it comes down far enough, as soon as Apple pits in, we might see Felix getting past. It's 8 seconds now. He's really making inroads to it quickly. So here it is, CJ pitting in. And he made a quick reaction to that just a lap after. No fuel for him either. And let's see how it's going to go. Where is Joe of the Fire? It's going to be very close as well. Joe of the Fire on the outside. Oh, and he makes it through. That's a brilliant one. And let's see if he can make it stick. This time around, Joe of the Fire making the undercut work, at least for the time being. That was a very, very cool move around the outside of CJ. Now CJ with the chance to throw it up the inside into the tight complex, but he's struggling with the car compared to the McGann trophy here. And that just brings a little bit of time and space in between, enough that we can catch a look at the replay. So here it is, it's CJ leaving, there is Joe of the Fire. Let's catch it from onboard from Joe. He's got a big speed advantage, able to use it like that to just get the car in front. What a good move. And he's still holding on to it, and look at this. Apple pitted, and he lost 2 seconds on the in-lap itself. So that's a really good undercut from Felix, now up into 4th position, and for the first time with a little bit of breathing space down to the BMW in behind. Wake CU in 3rd position, running very stably there, and none of the runners in behind seem to really be able to match the pace of the Belgian, who I don't think we've had in for his stop yet. He's running the racing softs, and we might see him actually going for a 1-stop or perhaps a 2-stop strategy here. Both things are very viable. In turn, the cars stopping already at lap 10, well, let it be a 3-stop strategy if that's the frequency that the pit stops are going to be happening at. The question, of course, being how much time are you going to be losing on tired rubber here? Of course, the Group 4 cars very dependent on that mechanical grip, so they are more prone to losing time on tire wear through faster sections than cars with higher downforce. Not to say that they don't lose time from it, but also here with some of these slightly off camber sections. Oh, Wake, that's not gonna be helping him either way. Here's CJ trying to make a carbon copy of the move that Joe pulled on him as he exited the pit lane, and he's gonna make that stick into turn 2. That's a brilliant one from CJ, and we're gonna jump right in for a second view at that one. Turns out it wasn't far enough back, so we're gonna try again. Here it is. Oh, look at the run. He gets such a big run on Joe of the Fire. The speed advantage coming into turn 1 was absolutely huge, and CJ able to take advantage, able to regain the lead yet again now from Joe of the Fire. The battle just going back and forth, it seems. Apple is clawing back time. He's clawing back, and he's gotten back half a second on Felix now. But there's an interesting development that Felix came on to a set of softs here, and Apple is running a set of super softs, so we might see Felix being able to take his tires that little bit longer. And if he's able to keep Apple in behind him, or even just stay close to him if he gets past, that might just work out in his advantage. Here it's still really close. And let's have a look. Rhino boys, he's running in 7th. He's 34 seconds down on GRM Bandit, running 6th. Bandit is not out of it yet. He's 6.5 seconds down on Apple, and that's certainly not impossible to make up for the Grip Runners Motorsport driver. Here at the moment, he is just clawing back the 10ths of a second here and there. On board with CJ's Wang Cam yet again. Just seeing them again of Joe of the Fire looking left, looking right, not finding any space really. And what was that? A still standing Rhino? Was that just to let the traffic by? I don't think it's necessary to park over the car, but well, never mind. Very well. On board with the Renault Megane Trophy of Joe of the Fire. 2nd position running at the moment. And there hasn't really been anything to separate himself and CJ. He gets a big slide on corner entrance. The Wang Cam. The Wang Cam. The Wank Am. The Wank Am. The Wang Cam. The Wang Cam. Still brilliant stuff. There's still no way through for Joe of the Fire. Oh, CJ gets it onto the dust there, and that might open up a possibility. Let's see Joe of the Fire, but no, CJ already back to going faster in a straight line. That's hugely impressive. It really must be said, the straight line speed of the Hyundai really making it difficult to overtake. Here's Felix. He's holding on to that 1 second advantage, and just as I say that, Apple is clawing back a number of tenths through one corner alone. The question is, how fast will those super softs on Apple's BMW wear out compared to the regular softs that Felix is running at the moment? He's now all nice and well into slipstream territory, although he opts for a narrow line into the final corner, and you can see it's Felix gaining on taking that wider, more speed through that final corner, and that in turn really helps all the way down to turn 1. And here it is, Snip gaining, sorry, I'd say Snip. It's Felix gaining. Let's start back with that battle for 4th position, because Apple's gotten seriously close to the bumper of Felix yet again, and well, now's the question: is he going to be able to get it past? Yeah, he thinks about it, but he thinks twice as well, and he decides not to have a go. Could probably end up showing to be a good idea, because it was really close enough. 0.2 of a second down in that situation. One thing I just have to mention with these races is that we actually had a full grid of sign-ups for this race, and yet we only have half a grid racing, and that's a little bit of a shame, of course. Mika dropped out, Martin's in the pit, but of course not referring to those guys, but where are you, all you NES heads that signed up for the race and is now isn't racing it? Because of course, from my viewpoint and from all our viewers' viewpoint as well, certainly does make it a little more fun watching when the grid is packed and there's more cars on track. That doesn't mean we aren't getting any kind of action at all. It's CJ and the witty professor and Felix and the peasant radish king. That's making sure that we all are well entertained for tonight. And these two battles just being gifts that keep on giving, very closely matched indeed. And Rabbit Gator, no, it's not the Eco liveries. At least I don't think so. Whoever would run the BMW M4 as an eco car would be a complete madman, because it is no eco car. It's the thirstiest Group 4 car, as far as I'm aware. CJ's put in a new fastest lap with a 1:14.9, and was that a little bit of a tap between him and Joe of the Fire there? That might have been. We're gonna hop on board with Joe of the Fire and have a look at the situation. And this is where I should have a meme to post. Bang! Right in the middle of the screen. With a big picture of the situation from Jersey Shore. But there was no touch. Oh, CJ's gone on that desert peyote trip I was talking about earlier, and that is F's out. Can we have him? Can we see him? He just goes too quickly into that final corner, and that is the place of places to go on that desert trip. I can tell you a little anecdote as well. I've been on the backside of that wall there once during a race, and that took me so long to get out. I mean, it was painful. Evening to Jonathan Fremoyle. Dessert Duel. Yeah, Shomar, and welcome to you as well, mate. It's always nice to have you along as well. Shomar, I'm totally up for a Dessert Duel challenge. What do you say we go through chocolate pudding, a piece of cake, some ice cream, and some more stuff, and we'll do it on webcam and then see who can do it the fastest. I think that's the only thing, except for maybe on a bicycle, where I can be faster than you. That's because I have a big mouth and I sure can eat quickly. Anyway, CJ now 14.5 seconds down on Joe of the Fire after completely overcooking it there. Now Wake CU is in. The question is, has he parked it as well? Because he's just standing still in there. He hasn't damaged the car. What's up with Wake? There's nothing to see, and he's just throwing away the time. Felix already up into third position. He's coming in for a pit stop now. Apple, well, is that an outlap for him? He's trying to do the undercut on Felix. Wake for falling now further down the order. And a lot of action right now because GRM Bandit pitting is in as well. I don't know how Felix has gained massive amounts of time on Apple over this pit round. He's exited the pits 5.2 seconds in front. And that might be the difference in fuel consumption on the Cayman. Oh, the pit crew dinner! Oh, what a nice pit crew. Although not a good pit crew for serious racing. Coming for a stop, they're like, ah, we made the... Oh, it's German, so we made you sauerkraut. I'm sorry, it's German, guys. You're right down to the south of us. You're our neighbors. Bandit certainly in a Viper indeed. He is running 5th at the moment. There he is in the Orica liveried Viper, or the Orica Tribute, or the Orica Replica is the word I was looking for. Perhaps it is. Group 4 car, perhaps Tribute is more fitting. Yeah, Tuesday he steals your front wing. And then on Sunday, you find him driving the entire car. Well, he's been through your garage, picking out the parts over the remainder of the week. Joe of the Fire now has 13.9 seconds down to CJ running second. CJ on a purple lap for the final sector, so he could be in for really gaining some time. His best time there, 1:14.9. It is a purple lap, but it's still 14 seconds up to Joe of the Fire. It's gonna be a tough ask closing that kind of gap, especially if CJ has to make another pit stop as well. Then 31 seconds down on those in third position now. It's Felix, who's been very consistent, it has to be said. And the mistakes he's made has been kept small and under control, and he is harvesting the ripe fruit of all that in third position at the moment. He's nursing a gap 4 seconds down to Apple at the moment. Apple in turn has 4.6 seconds now to Bandit in the Viper. So Bandit is also coming up from behind as Rhino Boys is also pitting in. And we've got Martin back on track running as well. Martin now down by 18 minutes. And I think he's gonna be seeing if he can catch up with Wake before he finishes eating. That's a very good challenge. That's a... If you can do that, Martin, and still not be last, it certainly is impressive indeed. Joe of the Fire actually managing to extend his gap, at least here through the final. It's not the final, it's the middle sector. That was what I wanted to say. Don't know why I just didn't. Just didn't. But he is extending the gap. Yes, Shoma, we must do the dessert duel at some point. Of course, I need time to acquire all these set. We have to do something like recording it on video both and then adding it to a video. Maybe you can do that on SharePlay. Actually, I think we actually could do that on SharePlay. To kind of like time code it from like the go and just, you know, eating is gonna be completely silly. It would be such fun stuff. We have to do that, Shema, I swear. And then of course it's gonna be half the cake gone. You know that old saying that you can't have your cake and eat it too? You can have half your cake and eat half your cake and then just keep half your cake till it becomes old. But that's also the part. Who wants to have your cake forever? It becomes old and tired after. Like, good cake isn't gonna stay good for more than tops a couple of days. Tops! So just eat it, god damn it. Eat it! Felix doing a strong job so far, still. A bit of a choke. No, he is giving away a little bit of time. Let's look at his tires. He's on super softs this time around. He's got pretty much. Got good tires still. Apple is clearly being a little rougher to those front tires, and while he is gaining, I don't think he's gonna be able to continue gaining upon him. Joe of the Fire is keeping it status quo here with just about 13 laps. Well, 13 and 13 laps remaining of the race. Silly. Oh, what's happened to Felix? Has been for a... No, he's not been in for a pit stop, and that is all of a sudden he finds himself in 5th position. Has he damaged the car in any way? No, he hasn't. Although he might have gone on a picnic in the desert sands that we didn't or wasn't able to recall. Anyway, that's put Apple up into 3rd position now. It's put Bandit up into 4th position. And it's really the only mistake that we've seen Felix made. It's left him with a lot of catching up to do now. Although he's right on the tail of GRM Bandit. And with that, a battle now developing, and it's for 4th position yet again. Something just seems to be up about that 4th position. Just need to be always stopped for cake. Yeah, he got hungry after hearing all the cake talk. Here is Martin pitting in and rejoining as well. He's 18 minutes and 35 seconds down on race leader. Joe of the Fire, the witty professor, yet again being cool, calm and collected. He's really not one to make many mistakes while racing. And here is Wake CU. He's on lap 20. Martin still a number of laps down on Wake CU. Turn he's gonna need to be eating for about 7 more minutes, 6-7 more minutes if Martin is to be catching all the way up. Joe of the Fire now extending his gap, is up to 15.2 seconds now. And back with the battle for 4th as well. Hashtag real burp. As we have Felix right on the tail of Bandit in 6th position at the moment. It is Rhino boys, but he's also a bit of time back. He's on lap 28. Joe of the Fire now. Ten laps remaining. 3/4 of the race gone. 3/4 of the cake gone. And final pit stop for Joe of the Fire. He's gonna be fueling here. Interesting thing is gonna be seeing how much time. Oh well, CJ doesn't really have any sort of advantage on fuel because he's gonna be needing to fuel all the same here on the same lap. So and it seems like Wake is ready to go on as well, and he still nurses a couple of laps advantage on Martin, so the mission not last seems to be a difficult one now. It all depends on how long it'll take Wake to put down the... No, he needs to perform the pit stop as well here. Fresh tires and fuel. Oh, still it's not gonna allow Martin to catch up 3 laps, obviously. Sometimes it feels even more realistic when you have these super long pit stops and cars that are 6-8 laps down, because in real motorsports, especially in real endurance racing, if you actually had a car picking up damage, you know, it would never take 5 seconds to fix it. Would, you know, be closer to either 15 minutes or 50 minutes, or if it's real bad, hours to fix. Although hours, that's probably rare. If it's hours, usually you see people pulling out. But anyway, you know, at races like Le Mans, I mean, Spa 24 hours, you can come back from a lot of stuff. We've seen that, especially at Le Mans. That year, Porsche won coming back from, was that Toyota? Was it Porsche? I don't even remember. But someone won coming back. And it was like late in the race with an LMP2 leading the race and stuff. It was crazy. Now after this pit stop, it's still 14, just in the vicinity of 15 seconds between Joe of the Fire and CJ. GRM Bandit up into 3rd position now. And is that following the pit stop of Apple or what? He's also on very fresh rubber, but he might not have enough fuel to finish the race. That's the only thing I'm really afraid of for the sake of GRM Bandit. 3rd position would surely be a brilliant result. And then lurking in the shadows behind those two in front, it is Felix. And it's not going to take a lot of, well, either battling or especially mistakes for him to be right on the tail of those two in front. So we might see a big battle for 3rd position. And we're in turn already seeing the battle for 3rd here with Apple trying to close that final bit of a gap up to Bandit. Bandit has been running a very good race so far, it has to be said. He's kept his pace about him and kept his wits about him as well. And as I say that, he makes a little mistake, goes too far on the inside there, and Apple does the same thing in the following corner. It's going to open the door for Bandit to get that back. Brilliant side-by-side stuff here through that middle sector. Case of cotton mouth for me. Really trying to relieve it. Guess it happens sometimes from drinking lots of coffee. Anyway, what I was talking about before was that it wouldn't take a lot of mistakes to bring Felix right back into the battle for 3rd position. The gap is already halved. And just a little more battling, he's going to be right on to the tail of Off Apple. The question is then, can Off Apple hold on to the tail of GRM Bandit? Bandit is now 7/10 up. Of course, still not free of that BMW behind. Oh, with a big slide through the hairpin as well. That's not gonna aid him at all. And Rhino Boys just getting overtaken by Martin. I think actually Martin and Wake seems to have found each other, and although they're not on the same lap, well, it's not gonna stop them from racing. As you see, TSR Martin 14 laps down. In front of him, it's Wakesy, who's picked up a 0.1 second penalty. Absolutely brutal penalty. He's 10 laps down in six. That's that cotton mouth I'm talking about. That's Rhino Boys in 6th position. He's 2 laps down. And on the lead lap, of course, both CJ, GRM Bandit, Off Apple, and Felix. Felix now 1.2 seconds down on those 2 cars in front. Or on Apple, of course. It seems Apple is also losing a little bit of time on Bandit. And it might just be that his tires are beginning to give up here for the final laps of the race. Yet again, Bandit takes the gravel with him at that corner, although it isn't necessarily the best way to do it, because it's surely gonna unsettle the car. Now let's have a look at the tires of these 3 drivers. Felix, he's on some quite okay super softs. It's well done to keep him like that for so long into the stint. Apple's a little more worn. Bandit, he's on regular softs, but they're better, but he's not got a lot of fuel left. And GRM Bandit, well, my personal take on that is that there is no way he's gonna be able to do 5 laps. And it's actually 6 more laps on such a low amount of fuel, and I think he's really gonna be suffering with this one. And CJ has had some other kind of problem here, because he's now running 53.7 seconds behind Joe of the Fire. Saw that gap to Bandit being around 13 seconds. And look at that, the rhythm seems completely broken for the Mad Greek. And he was running strongly for so long in this race. But one trip to the desert can do strange things to your life, and it happened to CJ. He just hasn't found his rhythm ever since. Take note, kids. Felix still status quo, still 1.2, 1.3 seconds down on Apple. It seems Apple has lost further time to GRM Bandit. Question is he even gonna try to fuel save to get that car across the line with the fuel that's left on it? He might be able to, and if he does, it's quite the achievement. It's really running low. I don't think he's gonna make it further than this lap. It's gonna be a big shame for GRM Bandit. And of course, I'm giving him away to the other drivers as well. They can take it easy. At least if they're watching the stream. That's why we're not always... Well, that's at least one of the reasons that we're not always having it on all the time and always not necessarily looking and mentioning it. But here I really thought, oh, is it gonna be for GRM Bandit or isn't it? And sadly it seems it isn't going to be a podium place. Of course, unless both Apple and Felix all of a sudden needs to pit in as well. Well, in that case, it might just be anyways. He's keeping it out. And there's 4 laps of racing left for them. Him, Apple, and Felix in 5th. Felix has lost a little time as well. Though Super Soft seems to still be holding up just fine. Is that still... Oh, Martin, he's actually managed to overtake Wake. Oh, and then he goes on a trip of his very own. And he finds the wall on the outside, and that's gonna do some huge damage to his car. And we're gonna take another look at what happened here on board with TSR Martin as he just slides out, goes too quickly and doesn't manage to grip. And I think he was hardly even too keen on saving the car in the end. That fucking Lambo. So it is Joe of the Fire as Bandit. There it is. He's pitting in. So it had to come. We knew it. We just about knew it. Was that a change of tires, or was fresh tires? That's certainly an interesting decision, but of course he'll be 10 seconds down on those 2 other cars anyways. But the tires, 5 seconds in itself, he would have been a lot closer without going for the fresh tires, only being here a couple of laps. Now it's Joe of the Fire having to work his way through traffic here, getting swiftly and cleanly, it seems, past Snip. Now he's on the outside and there's contact between the two. Question is if it was enough to damage either of the cars. No damage to either of those, so that's what we want to see. And Snip getting it wide on exit from that section. I think he was a little frustrated with Joe of the Fire, so seeming to be a little bit in a hurry in that situation. Could have been a bit more patient, but of course lapping cars does have their rights. But feel sorry for Felix as he was trying to pressure Apple. And here comes Martin to unlap himself. That's some big speed in the Lambo. That is certainly also a quick car. Joe of the Fire onto his final lap. And CJ still running second. Apple, after that pit stop of Bandit, is now in third position. And here comes Joe of the Fire to lap him. It's gonna be any kind of chaotic situation. He's not making it easy for Joe as well. Of course, he's trying to get out of the way so he can get back in his rhythm and not let Felix ride back up. And it is, of course, the final lap for these cars who are getting lapped as well now. So it seems CJ, he is going to be doing that final lap. And then I'm not sure who else is. So the class of the witty professor, well, it just can't be denied. And the consistency wins him races time and time again. And he's done it again. He takes the checkered flag of the Desert Duel Challenge. Off Apple home for 3rd position. Martin home for 8th. There it is. Felix crossing the line in 4th. Could have been more for him. Bandit must be a little sad that he didn't have enough fuel to actually finish the race. I think he did under fuel a little bit because he was looking strong for a 3rd position, and he could have kept that. I'm quite sure if he wouldn't have been forced to pit in. The true Rhino Boys is coming home for 6th position. Wake CU is coming home for 7th. And then last to finish, but not last on the... Oh, CJ takes another trip. He's gonna take it. Oh, he takes a flyer into the pit lane. And across the line. Not even across the line. CJ... Oh, that was... Can we get an extra... No! Too slow. God damn it! I wanted to get a second view of that very showy, show-offy. But it was a finish full of showmanship from CJ there. Anyway, of course, congratulations to Joe of the Fire on yet another strong win here in the NES. He's been going so strongly throughout the last period of time. In general, he's picked up serious wins, league wins in the last 2 TSR series. He's picked up a championship title in the last NES season as well, and he's been so strong here in the season 4.5 special events. Well, Wake, if that's so easy to say. And I think with that said, I am also going to say thanks for tonight. It's been a pleasure having you all along for the NES Desert Duel. Do look forward to me and Shomar's Desert Duel. More on that will come. Tomorrow we will be with you for the very strongly grid, almost IGTL-ish, also featuring a lot of drivers from that's been in the IGTL. But anyways, very strong series, the Audi TT Showdown series. It's on tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Central European Time. And of course, we will be back with the final round of the TSR Super Formula Season 1, and that's on Tuesday evening on around 10 minutes to 10. Of course, we will also be featuring the opening round of the 6th season of the VRR, the Virtual Reality Racing Super GT Series, and that's going to be on Saturday, and do not miss that one either. So, ladies and gentlemen, interviews, you want to do interviews, CJ? I was trying to just skip the interviews today because I'm tired as hell. So it's gonna be no interviews today, I'm sorry. But the interviews, the press conference, will return terribly with a vengeance tomorrow, I'm quite sure. So But do tune in tomorrow and do tune in on Tuesday as well if you feel like it. Plenty of opportunities to catch us live. Of course, thanks to all the drivers who took part today, even though we would have liked to see more. And thanks for all of you for tuning in as well. It's been a pleasure. My name is DirtenDK. You have been watching Have the Race Gone. If you like what we do here, like the video. And if you haven't already, and if you feel like it, feel free to subscribe as well to stay in tune and in touch with what's going on here on the channel. And with that said, I'm gonna end it here. So until next time, take care, have fun, and bye for now.